morning, children, and welcome back to Sunday School. Hope you all enjoyed your holidays and had good fun. Well, children, today we are going to learn about Christ the King. Yes, as today the feast of Jesus Christ, the universal King. Yes, Jesus is not like any earthly king who fights for position and for wealth, but Jesus is a King of kings. Yes, he is a king who shows us the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the only king who gave up his life for us humans, and so let us carry on with this lesson with a little story.
Some children were at play on the playground one day when a herald rode through the town, blowing a trumpet and crying aloud, The king passes by this road today. Make ready for the king." The children stopped their play and looked at one another. "Did you hear that?" they said. "The king is coming. He may look over the wall and see our playground. Who knows? We must put it in order." The playground was sadly dirty, and in the corners were scraps of paper and broken toys, for these were careless children. But now one bought a hoe, and another a rake, and a third ran to fetch the wheelbarrow from behind the garden gate. They labored hard, till at length all was clean and tidy. "Now it is clean," they said, "but we must make it pretty, too, for kings are used to fine things. Maybe he would not notice mere cleanness, for he may have it all the time." Then one brought sweet rushes and strewed them on the ground, and others made garlands of oak leaves and fine tassels and hung them on the walls. And the smallest one pulled marigold buds and threw them all about the playground to look like gold, he said. When all was done, the playground was so beautiful that the children stood and looked at it and clapped their hands with pleasure. "Let us keep it always like this," said the smallest one, and the others cried, "Yes, yes, that is what we will do." What kind of a visit do you think this would be? How would the king behave? What would he do? They waited all day for the coming of the king, but he never came. Only towards sunset a man with travel-worn clothes and a kind-faced man passed along the road and stopped to look over the wall. "What a pleasant place," said the man. "May I come in and rest, dear children?" The children brought him in gladly and set him on the seat that they had made out of an old cask. They had covered it with a purple cloak to make it look like a throne, and it made a very good one. "It is our playground," they said. "We made it pretty for the king, but he did not come, and now we mean to keep it so for ourselves." "That is good," said the man, "because we think pretty and clean is nicer than ugly and dirty," said another. "That is better," said the man. "And for the tired people to rest in," said the smallest one. "That is best of all," said the man. He sat and rested, and looked at the children with such kind eyes, that they came about him and told him all that they knew about the 5 puppies in the barn, and the thrush's nest with 4 blue eggs, and the shore where the gold shells grew. And the man nodded and understood all about it. By and by he asked for a cup of water, and they brought it to him in the best cup, with the gold springs on it. Then he thanked the children, and rose and went on his way. But before he went, he laid his hand on their heads for a moment, and the touch went warm to their hearts. The children stood by the wall and watched the man as he went slowly along. The sun was setting, and the light fell in long slanting rays across the road. "He looks so tired," said one of the children. "But he was so kind," said another. "See," said the smallest one, "how the sun shines on his hair. It looks like a crown of gold." Questions to ponder. What kind of a person finally came to visit the children? Was he really a king? Why did the children find on him a crown like gold? Was he a better king than they could have imagined? What was the difference between the kind of king they had expected and the king who really came to visit them?
We should understand that when Jesus rules over us, we get salvation and happiness. And our King deserves our loyalty. Before Christmas, we have the Advent season, correct? And before that, we have the feast of Jesus, the universal King. And we celebrate this feast with great pomp. Yes, we have prayers during the whole day, that whole Sunday we have prayers, we have adoration. And in the evening we have a procession where all the full congregation comes together. Yes, we also have the first Holy Communion children of last year's, of the year before who comes, and they look so pretty when they are throwing lovely flowers while the procession is moving. We have the altar servers, we have the Eucharistic ministers, we have everybody who joined the procession. And then we have the sermon at the end, and then the Blessed Sacrament is taken and kept in the tabernacle. So, what can we do as we are preparing for our first Holy Communion? We can join the procession, we can partake and tell people that we too are partaking in the procession of Christ our King. First Holy Communion children, we have to tell that we want to make Jesus, we desire to make Jesus the King of our life. Yes, Judy.
Jesus is a shepherd king. What type of king is Jesus? There are 2 types of king who focus on power and service to people. Jesus' role as a king is explained in the Bible as a shepherd king. Old Testament, Prophet Ezekiel 34:11 to 12 and 15 to 17.
A reading from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verses 11 to 12 and 15 to 17. For this is what the sovereign Lord says: I myself will search for my sheep and look after them. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on a day of clouds and darkness. I myself will tend my sheep and have them lie down, declares the sovereign Lord. I will search for the lost and bring back the strays. I will bind up the injured and strengthen the weak. But the sleek and the strong I will destroy. I will shepherd the flock with justice. As for you, my flock, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will judge between one sheep and another, and between rams and goats.
When Jesus said he will pasture his sheep, on what will he feed us so that we become strong to live his new life? Yes, Jesus will give us his own body and blood, symbols of his life, of his grace and love. Why does a shepherd look for the lost sheep and bandage their wounds? Because he loves them. So when we break our friendship with God, when we do not listen to him, we are like lost sheep, and Christ, the true shepherd king, offers us again and again his covenant of friendship and love. Christ is a caring and forgiving king, and he invites us all to experience his compassion and love. In order to understand even more deeply this title that we give to Jesus, we need to go back to the scene when, before Jesus died, he was brought to trial before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, who condemned Jesus to die on the cross. Pilate was amazed at Jesus, so meek and silent, while the Jews, with their priests, insulted and ridiculed him. Do you remember, children, the story when Jesus was being questioned by Pilate? Well, let us just see a small video on this.
So, you are the king of the Jews.
You have said it.
This is why they demand that you be sentenced to death.
If my reign belonged to this world, my guards would have fought to defend me. But my reign is not of this world.
He has no guards, no soldiers, no spies. He is a prophet who explains their scriptures to the people. The Sanhedrin fear he may incite the people against them.
Then you admit it. You are a king, but of a kingdom that is not of this world.
You have said it. This is why I was born, and this is why I came into the world. Whoever is on the truth's side listens to my voice.
The truth, the truth. What is the truth?
Jesus was telling Pilate that his kingdom is founded on truth. In other words, God is truth, and all human beings seek and search for truth with their reasoning powers. They also choose to be truthful if they are God's friend and listen to his voice. Therefore, our Lord Jesus Christ is the King of all human beings. He is a universal King of truth. Where there is truth, there is unity and peace among all people. Well, children, there's a question for you all. Write down what you think the meaning of Jesus saying, "My kingship is not of this world." My kingship is not of this world. Write what you understand on this. Kindly take a prayerful posture. Close your eyes. Sit with your back straight. Open palms on your lap. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
Reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verses 10 to 13. In that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his resting place will be glorious. In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the surviving remnant of his people from Assyria, from Lower Egypt, from Upper Egypt, from Cush, from Elam, from Babylonia, from Hamath, and from the islands of the Mediterranean. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. Ephraim's jealousy will vanish, and Judah's enemies will be destroyed. Ephraim will not be jealous of Judah, nor Judah hostile towards Ephraim. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Jesus Christ, truly King, or they are making a mockery of his kingship. Christ the King wore no crown or jewels, but a crown of thorn. He carried no scepter or of gold, but a palm branch. They presented Jesus to the world as King. He is a king who is not happy with just a crown of power, but who is ready and willing to wear a crown of suffering to help his people. He is a king who does not carry a scepter of power in his hand, but a simple shepherd's staff, a branch, to show that he guides the sheep in total freedom. He is a king who does not wear a rich robe, but a robe stained with blood, to show Jesus, our King, is ready to die in order to save us. What kind of King Jesus is? Let us acknowledge Jesus as the King of our lives too, each one of us, and let us pay homage as our true King. Now, children, let us sing this hymn, Jesus is the joy of living.
Oh, Jesus is the joy of living. He's the King of life to me. Unto him my all I'm giving. He's forevermore to be. I will do what he commands me. Everywhere he leads I'll go. Jesus is the joy of living. He's
Children, look at the statue of Christ the King. Can you understand the various symbols on the statue? And how can you explain the true nature of Jesus, his kingship? As First Holy Communion children, how can you make this day special? As we are preparing to receive Jesus for the first time, are you excited about the feast of Christ the King? Will you be able to take part in the procession? Will there be a chance to spend time quietly with Jesus? How will you do it? Ponder on these questions too.
So, children, we have come to the end of your session. The activity and assignments are as follows. Imagine you have reached the court of a real king. What do you expect that a king should give you? Christ the King statue of Jesus Christ, located in Swebodzin, Poland, is the largest in the world. Find out more details and make a note of it. Make sure to send it to us today or during the week, latest by Thursday. Your assignment is as follows. What have you understood from this lesson?